Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Jay the One Night Gamer video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the information that dropped courtesy of Famitsu for Samurai Warriors 5, which brought out the reveal of 5 returning playable characters with their brand new redesigns. And just a little spoiler warning, one of these redesigns is quite possibly my favorite redesign I've seen so far, and that's saying a lot from a couple of the ones we have seen, so I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out who it is. But before we jump into that proper, I would just like to give a quick information update that the third live stream is going to happen on April 23rd for Samurai Warriors 5, and the developers have stated that we are going to see the last 4 playable characters revealed. Now they say 4 playable characters, and that is true, but I feel like we're going to see 3 new characters and Hanzo's revealed because he's the only one that hasn't been officially revealed, but he was basically revealed alongside Ieyasu and Tadakatsu when the first trailer dropped. So I'm very interested to see that. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to go. I think we're going to get Hanzo and 1 more returning character, and then hopefully the other 2 characters are brand new characters, or it could be Hanzo and 3 brand new characters. Either way, I'm very interested, and I kind of hope we do get at least 1 more brand new character going forward. And also, we've only gotten 12 of the 15 weapon sets revealed so far, so that means at least out of the 4 characters going to reveal, at least 3 of them are going to have the new weapons tied to them. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to look like. I kind of hope we get a lot more gameplay this time around. I did enjoy what we got, but I'd love to see a lot more of that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got on that. But without further ado, let's jump into these redesigns, shall we? Alright, and to start off these redesigns, we're going to be taking a look at the greatest villain of the Sengoku Jab period himself, Matsunaga Hisahide. And what's very interesting about this is he's the first of the Samurai Warriors 4 new characters to make it into Samurai Warriors 5, so that's very interesting. His outfit, it looks a lot more regal. He doesn't look like that evil, conniving character that we saw in Samurai Warriors 4. Now, that doesn't mean his personality could change. He could still be that evil, conniving character, but he looks a lot more suave, more regal, if you ask me. I'm really liking his new design. He definitely does carry that regal presence, and I would love to see if this gives him a more haughty-taughty attitude, as less of a more scheming, like, I guess, villain of the week kind of thing. And gone is his sickle sword along with the bombs. Now he's using what looks to me could be a blunderbuster, because he's just got this one big gun and he looks so goofy with it, but I feel like it fits him very well too, considering who he is. All in all, I think this redesign is just a proper evolution of what we saw in 4. Like I said, he's no longer looking like the villain of the week kind of character. He's looking more like a proper regal, I guess, elegant villain who seems to be a little more, you know, intellectual. But like I said, his personality could stay exactly the same, and he could be the guy who pretty much manipulates everyone behind the shadows until Oda is forced to put him down. Either way, I'm very curious to see how he's going to interact, and they also state that he still finds Mitsuhide very interesting. So we do know he's going to have a big tie with Mitsuhide going forward in the story. So all in all, really liking his redesign, and this I think sets a precedence for the rest of the redesigns we're going to be seeing going forward. Alright, moving away from Hisahide, we're now going to take a look at one of the most intellectual minds of the Sengoku Jidai period. That is, of course, Mori Motonari. And what I find very interesting about this redesign, which I love, by the way, 100%, is the fact that he's finally portrayed as an old man. Because if you guys don't know this, he was in, I believe, his 60s by the time Oda had actually gotten into power. I think in Samurai Warriors 3, when he was revealed, he was pretty much a young man, and Samurai Warriors 4, he pretty much was the same character, just with gray hair to, I guess, symbolize that he was old. But this actually makes him look like an old man who has these years of experience, and I really enjoy the fact that Koei's willing to do that, because we don't really get a lot of old-looking characters in the Warrior games. They're usually portrayed as very youthful. I think the closest we get is Huang Zhang in Dynasty Warriors. I'm loving his redesign, and he's not wielding his hand crossbow anymore. Instead, he's using a regular bow, just like Nohime, so they're going to share the moveset. But I'm very curious to see what his musou and his charge strings could be like, because remember, he's a very tactical individual, and I would hope that would play into his playstyle. And honestly, with his outfit, I just love it. He just screams strategist to me, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to interact with Oda, and how he's also going to interact with Yamanaka, because to my understanding, Yamanaka actually has to deal with the Mori as he's trying to get help from the Oda, so I'm very curious to see how he's going to play a pivotal role in that character's story arc. All in all, with Motonari's redesign, I really like it. I think he is the second best redesign in this batch of characters we're seeing, and honestly, I feel like these redesigns are getting better as we go on. But let's talk about the next guy, shall we? And of course, when we're talking about Motonari, his son won't be too far behind, and I'm going to apologize immensely right now if I butcher this name, because his first name is so freaking hard to say for some reason, and that is, of course, Kobayakawa Takakage. Oh, thank God, I hope I said that right. But yeah, Takakage's name is really hard for me to say, so I'm probably going to just keep saying that a little bit through the video. My apologies. Yeah, he also showed up in the game, and he's also the second character from Samurai Warriors 4 to make it into Samurai Warriors 5. But he also has a very interesting redesign. He looks a lot more younger than he does in his 4 iteration. Gone is his shaggy hair. Instead, he's got a long ponytail and slick hairstyle, and he looks a lot more youthful than he did actually in 4. And gone is his trademark sword and book. Instead, he's wielding what looks to be a katana, the same as Mitsuhide and Nagamasa. So I'm very interested to see how that works. And as for his outfit, like his father and Hisahide themselves, I feel like this is just a natural evolution of their Samurai Warriors 4 outfit. And honestly, he looks really good in my opinion. He's a character that that I didn't really have a big interest in, but I know that he's going to play a big role with his father and obviously with Yamanaka himself. And I'm also curious to see how he's going to interact with Oda Nobunaga if he actually runs into him, and how he's obviously going to interact with Hideyoshi, who's going to play a bigger role in the next game again if this game sells well and they continue the story from 5 to 6. But all in all, really liking his redesign. Not top tier for me, but you know, I think it's really looking good and it fits in with the aesthetic they're going for with Samurai Warriors 5. Alright, the next guy up is an OG all the way back from Samurai Warriors 1. You know him, you love him, he's the war god personified himself. We're talking about Uesugi Kenshin, and look at this guy. He looks like a total warrior monk, and it looks like he jacked Nagamasa's freaking helmet. And honestly, it looks like he's rocking it a lot better than he ever did. And honestly, I'm really liking this redesign. They kind of went with a more, I guess, pretty boy version of him, but he still has that air of a warrior monk and leader about him, and he definitely still looks like someone you don't want to fuck with. His weapon is changed too. No longer is he wielding his signature like flame sword. I don't know what the proper term for it is, but now it looks like he could be wielding either, I think, the katana, but I honestly think he might be sharing a moveset with Oda Nobunaga, only because in the one screenshot you see him in, he doesn't really have a sheath where we've seen, you know, with Mitsuhide, Nagamasa, and Takakage. They've all had their sheath on the one hand and the sword in the other. This one, he's actually using both hands on the sword. And let's talk about that sword. That sword looks freaking gnarly as hell. And honestly, I'm really liking this redesign. Kenshin has always been an interesting character for me. I loved his concept of the warrior monk who's all about Bushido and the warrior code. And this looks like they just took that to the next extreme. It just made him a little more handsome, I guess. I don't know, in my opinion. He looks kind of handsome. And he just looks, like I said, like someone you don't want to fuck with. And he looks like he is the war god personified. So I'm very interested to see how his whole story and gameplay are going to work, because he doesn't really deal with Oda except for, I think, one major battle where he technically does kick Oda's ass. But all in all, I'm really liking the redesign. I do find it interesting that they're going with the more, I guess, pretty boy version of him as opposed to his regular stern face. I don't think his personality is going to change that much, because like I said, it's hard to change Kenshin's personality because he is so basically well defined in that he is a warrior monk who follows the path of Bushido and is kind of straightforward in that regard. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to do with Kenshin going forward. And of course, when we are talking about the war god himself, his great nemesis won't be too far behind. And of course, we have to talk about Takeda Shingen. And oh my god, this is the #1 redesign I love the most so far out of this entire batch and the entire game, because holy shit, Shingen looks nothing like he's ever been before. Gone is his old man design with the war fan, and instead we're getting a look at a young, big, hulking Shingen who's wielding a great spear. And fun fact, if you look on the great spear, it actually has the Furinkanzan on it, so I think that's amazing. But like I said, this is my favorite redesign of the entire game, beating out Toshie by a landslide. Like I've been saying throughout the video, Samurai Warriors 5 has done something that none of the other games have ever made me want to do, and that is play characters that I've never liked playing as. I've hated Shingen's moveset ever since I played him in Samurai Warriors 1, which it didn't really evolve that much between each game. Now that being said, I can completely understand if people love the old Shingen design. You're not wrong in feeling that way, and I respect your decision for that. But you gotta understand, for someone like me who kind of likes characters like, you know, Yukimura, Tadakatsu, Toshie, Keiji Maeda, and all these big guys, this is awesome. This is like a Shingen that I can get behind because he just looks so freaking awesome, and look at him tearing these people up. I just hope we don't have to wait too long to see him in action. I hope he shows up on the 23rd if they show off any gameplay. And also, let's just remember, just because he looks like a bruiser now doesn't mean he'll have the mindset of a bruiser, because he's still a tactical genius. And just because they're giving him a more youthful personality doesn't mean he's going to be reckless. I think it's just he's going to have the physique to match the intellect. And honestly, that sounds amazing to me, because like I said, I've never been interested in trying out Shingen, and this is the first time that I'm like, holy shit, I actually want to play Shingen. Like I've been saying so far, I have not hated really any of the redesigns. Now I know for some people they really do hate the redesigns, and I can understand that and I can respect your viewpoint on that, but like I said, as of right now, this is quite clearly my favorite redesign of the entire game so far. I'm just hyped for the game. I can't help it. I'm very intrigued. I know there's clone weapons. That's something I've come to accept, but you know, I also played Fire Emblem Warriors. Let's be real about that. That game was mostly clone weapons, and I still put in over 200 hours on it. So I don't think clone weapons are the death nail that this game deserves. It definitely should be taken into account, but we should give it a fair look and judge it on its own merits and wait for it to come out, or wait for reviews and other people who've actually played the game to see how it handles, and see if then we can do that, if we can critique the battle system and all this other stuff. But I'm willing to give this game the fair shot, because after Dynasty Warriors 9, I had no interest in playing any warrior games until Samurai Warriors 5, and I've been drastically waiting for this game to be revealed. And now that it's finally here, you know, there's probably a little bit of bias in me, but I'm willing to give it a fair shot, and I think that's all it deserves. That's all the information we got this time around. These 5 new redesigns, like I said, Shingen Shingen is my personal favorite of all the redesigns so far, and we still have 4 more characters to be revealed on the 23rd, so that could even change too depending on who we get to see. But either way, guys, I'm still hyped for this game, and I hope you guys are still interested in it too, and I hope you're willing to give it a fair shot as well. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I want you all to have a great day, and remember, let's rock!